This week, we're picking New York's all-time best right fielder.
Darryl Strawberry, great right fielder, tremendous hitter and tremendous power hitter.
In the playoffs, in the World Series, Reggie just seemed to show that he was one of the great players.
Keepers through the greatest collection of color home movies ever assembled of Major League Baseball from the 1930s through the 60s. Next up, Old Timers Day. Beginning in the late 1930s, the New York Yankees held baseball's first Old Timers Day, inviting past legends from around the major leagues. Eventually, other clubs followed suit, giving fans a chance to see their heroes in uniform once again.
Old Timers Day was the Hall of Fame coming alive. It was a time for a little nostalgia, to see how the great old guys were doing and looking. Did they still get up to the plate the same way they always did? Did they still catch the ball the same way they always did?
It was a thrill to see these guys, even though it was obviously just kind of an old-timers game and guys are kind of tiptoeing around, to see these guys in the uniform again.
You'd read about these guys, you knew their history, and they were icons, and they were heroes of mine.
I remember in 1954, Mac, by this time was 90 or 91, had retired from managing, but he came to that game and he was brought in to the Yankee dugout by a chauffeur and sat on the bench. And I remember sitting near him, just looking at him. His face was so old, probably looks like mine today. Cy Young, the old pitcher, was sitting on the bench too, and Lefty Grove came in, "Hiya, Connie." And I think, my Lord, Connie Mack, Cy Young, Lefty Grove, what a collection.
They actually played a game. And until, I don't know, the late 60s, early 70s, DiMaggio played in the game. And I remember seeing DiMaggio hit a homer into the lower left field stands at Yankee Stadium sometime in the early 60s.
They would bring back the old Dodgers, the old Giants. You'd see Roy Campanelli was in a wheelchair at the time.
Old Timers Day gave you a look at people who weren't as good as they used to be. They'd been retired for years and years, but they were still those figures, and they gave you the impression that they loved baseball. In 1948, you could hear Babe Ruth's last croaking voice as he was dying from throat cancer, buttoned up in an overcoat in July, saying essentially his farewell to baseball and to America.
But not all fans reveled in the nostalgia. For some, the image of these retired greats was an unwelcome sight.
I always cringe just a bit when I see an old-time friend to see that, like myself, he's aged. And when he plays now, it's more on memory than on talent.
Aging athletes can be very sad figures because a lot of them live on past reputation. It's like watching an aging actress who is beautiful in her prime and who becomes less beautiful as she gets older, and it introduces you to mortality again all over, and we don't like that.
In a fan's head, you're never old, because the players are never old. They see coming out of the woodwork, coming out of the mists of the past, trotting without any agility. Some old guy with a potbelly, and his name is Bob Turley, or his name is Johnny Mize. And I remember when they were slender and top of their game. You see those old players, you think, I'm kidding myself. I'm pretty old myself. And I think, well, at least I'm not as fat as Bob Turley.
Up next, a poet from the Dakotas recalls her attraction to the big city bombers.